Look at the beautiful yellow leaves falling down. And look at that beautiful Rocky Mountain view in front of us. Still got some good fall colors. I believe today is October 4th, 2025. But the area has been past peak for well over a week now. Hey everyone, today we are showing you a couple beautiful roads in northern New Hampshire where you can camp for free. Now you can camp for free basically anywhere in the national forest or state forest as long as you're a quarter mile from any road or trail. But this has actual free campsites that you can pull your camper, motorhome, your van, your car. You can set up a tent, do whatever you want at them. Except this year, because it's the driest year on record, there are signs absolutely everywhere. No campfires, no open fires. Camping stoves are okay. It specifically says no charcoal stoves. So, that being said, wood stoves for camping probably would fall more in that category. We went camping with a wood stove last week in a hot tent on an island. Wasn't super dry on the island because it gets foggy every morning, but now they have put these signs up everywhere, and I think that would fall into a category where the park rangers wouldn't be too happy. So if we do any more camping this year, which we're definitely going to, we're just going to stick to gas. See how that vehicle waved to me? That's called courtesy. We had a couple vehicles, and we had a Porsche holding up to their stereotype of being very rude. When you go by people in the middle of nowhere, you wave at them. And common courtesy. This is a very tight, winding road, very steep hills. You give the vehicle going down the hill the right of way, typically, unless you have a large trailer, you're driving a tiny car, some odd vehicle that would get stuck if it pulled into the ditch. There's exceptions like that fall under their common courtesy. This year's dry, the ditches aren't soft. I am driving my small car, so I'm not going to be pulling way out into the ditches. I'd be more likely to back up into a wider spot than do that. You see they got these signs everywhere. No camping. And right here is the hiking trail for that mountain peak you saw. Now we're driving downhill, and this side of the mountain facing west is where most of the free campsites are. There's a few on the other side, but not really many. Some of them are tiny. You wouldn't really want to put much. There's a couple that are literally a whole football field where sometimes there'll be parties of people there with campers. Jefferson Notch Road is the highest elevation road other than the Mount Washington Auto Road that you can drive in northern New England, and there's lots of free campsites. It's very, very nice. There's also a similar road that's only about a 20-minute drive away called Cherry Mountain Road. It has some very beautiful campsites where you can fit pretty good-sized motorhomes. But if it's tourist season or a weekend during the fall foliage, you're never gonna get a spot. You're very lucky if you get a spot in there during tourist season. This season, if you come on a weekday, you'll probably get one. Some of the sites, also you just park on the side of the road and you gotta hike in a couple hundred feet to a campsite for tents only. Pretty nice. This hill, you gotta pump the brakes. Don't ride your brakes. You might even want to downshift a little bit. This car's little engine's not too good at downshifting, so I'll just pump the brakes. We should be fine. But yeah, some of the tourists, you can pretty much tell when they come from a city. If they don't wave back at you, they're probably not too country. When you're passing people out in the middle of nowhere, you wave to each other, typically. But if there's no one at them, we'll get out at a few. It is a weekend, so the traffic has picked up a little bit, but it's no longer tourist season, so it's not as packed as it would would be. If we waited a couple days until Monday or Tuesday, a lot of the tourists will take a Monday off. So Tuesday is typically the day when it would be less people. And it feels like summertime right now again. The end of the week, it'll feel colder, like fall. It'll be way below freezing at nights. And that discourages a lot of people from coming out. So these roads will be pretty good. And until snow's in the forecast, these roads will actually be open through November, depending on the situation. I've camped before on this road. I think it was like 6 years ago. Back, I think, when I first got my driver's license, I came up here, used this road. It was nice. But we're not going to use fire pits now, and these places that are very popular, you're not going to be able to get very much firewood. You got to walk a little bit and carry it back because everyone else has picked it pretty good. But there's a lot of dead stuff you see even in front of me. If it wasn't so dry out, you could just bundle it up. You're allowed to burn anything dead or on the ground. They just don't want you with cutting anything living or anything, or any live. You know, we can't have any fires this year. It's too dry. But it being dry is allowing us to camp in some unusual spots that we typically wouldn't be able to. Here's another one. Very, very tight road. Also pretty dusty, so I personally would just go out into the middle of the logging roads and camp somewhere. I wouldn't want to be next to this dusty road. You're going to have to wash everything in it. It's probably not going to be too nice. Like, see that little driveway going in? There's a campsite with a fire pit there. No one's at it. Let's see if we can find any more campers. There's a few very beautiful spots. That one there to the left actually had a school bus camper at it the last time I was up here. Okay, let's pull over without getting stuck. There's another campsite with a fire pit. Yeah, that little campsite there doesn't look like much, but last time I was up here, someone got a school bus to fit in there, which was pretty cool. And we got a traffic jam here for some reason. What do we got in front of us? Is this the Bronco Club? We got like 6 Broncos all in front of each other. I know they got Jeep clubs and other things. Looks like we got the Bronco Club in front of us. We're gonna get dusty. I'm already pretty dusty. I'm just gonna close my air intake. Yeah, there's at least 8 of them. I can see a good amount in front of me right there. But every campsite on this road features water. Each side of this road has a separate stream, which is pretty cool. And it's not just a stream, it's crystal clear, it's flowing pretty well. It's still definitely flowing during the drought, but it's very mossy and beautiful. There's another campsite. Hey, I think this is the one I actually used a couple years ago. Let's let this clear up for a little bit, this dustiness. Let's back up. Yeah, I camped in here a couple years ago. When I first got my driver's license, I pulled down into this one. There's no one here right now. There's a fire pit down there. See, there's a flat area. You could fit a camper van or a tent. And there's a nice little trail going down to the waterway. I'd much rather use these in the spring, and I'm going to tell you why. Some people who use these campsites aren't too courteous about burying their poops. There'll be lots of poops at these campsites, but if you do it in the spring, the snow melt and everything will have disintegrated all those poos, and it'll be considerably cleaner. This year's also very dry, so a lot of those poos are still going to be there. There's another camp right there. Is that one? It could be. I don't think they'd mind if you park something in these, as long as you're not having fire or anything. There's some spots that they specifically put a sign they don't want you camping at. And the rule is you're allowed to stay up to 14 days once you're there. Here's a nice, beautiful one. It's got a fire pit. It's got the stream right there. There's another one right here. I'm surprised no one's taking it. Let me show you. Someone usually will just park a car right here and they'll walk up in there and there's a fire pit, or if they got a Jeep, they can pull up over all that stuff. I wouldn't even bring my truck up in that one there. But that's a nice one. Oh, there is actually a truck at that one across the road. It was just hiding. But these streams are still flowing, but they're very, very low. This area here, they only paved it so the river wouldn't wash it out. Oh yeah, this road is notorious for washing out. It hasn't washed out this year or last year, but if it's in good shape, they'll open it usually in May. One year they didn't open it until July because severe damage. These rivers aren't very high from the road and it washed out a good amount. So this bridge is made with creosote timbers like a railroad bridge, and they paved right over it. Creosote will last forever underneath the pavement. Now right there at that point, the streams on both sides of the road come together. Now only campsites on the left that I know of will have the water source. And I will show you the bigger campsite. I'm almost guarantee someone will be using it this weekend, but I'll just show it to you and then we'll leave real quick. Yeah, the White Mountains, if you try to book a campground here or a cabin during tourist season, oh, there's a tent set up right there. They're pretty trusting. They left their stove and everything there, and they left out for the day to go do stuff. But you try to book something during tourist season, you're going to find they're booked out like a year in advance. This time of year, you'll probably find something. It's in the fall. But just saying, these places fill up very fast, so it's nice to have something that's free if you're lucky enough to get one. But you can stay 14 days, and then the park rangers might take notice and tell you got to move along. But if there's another available, you can just move down the road a little bit. That's the thing, it's a very tourist area, the White Mountains. You go up to the Katahdin region, Mount Katahdin region, not as many tourists there. Those campgrounds actually don't fill up quite as often. And you go out to the Maine wilderness, like the Maine Northwoods, where I'm always hanging out. In the tourist season, half the campsites, actually most of those campsites won't even be filled up because you have to drive hours on dirt roads, and most of the tourists that come from the cities, they don't want to get their precious cars dirty. They literally have pulled up to me complaining about the muddy situation. Well, you're the one who drove out here. Some people actually like these dirt roads more than the paved roads, so I didn't say that to him, but why are you out here? But I love going out there. Very secluded. The Maine Northwoods, it's $30 a night. Beautiful. They all have outhouses. They have picnic tables, some have pavilions. All of them have lakefront or riverfront places. They're beautiful. I love those campsites. Okay, see that little road to our left? That's a campsite down there. Oh, there's a tent set up on the right. This road offers a lot of flat roads that are gated off. Good, easy nature walks. If I remember correctly, there's going to be another dirt road on the left, and I feel like that's a loop coming out. It's also pretty beautiful. We'll pull through there. See if anyone's using that site. The park rangers will not let you put something to use as a space saver. Like someone, if you have a tent All right, but if you go ahead and like put a cone there or something, they're just gonna get rid of that. Is this it? No. That other road was its independent campsite. This is the loop. This is the way in, and it will come back out. Anyone using it? I can't believe no one's using it. This is pretty rocky. Boom, boom, boom. Don't bottom out. Don't bottom out. We're good. This is a nice campsite. This road's closed in the winter. They don't plow it. It becomes a snowmobile trail. I can't believe no one's here. I'll show you this campsite. I gotta pee real quick. We'll get out for a moment. So today's like 80 degrees. I think that's like upper 20s Celsius. It's a beautiful fall day. It's a Saturday. I can't believe these places aren't mobbed, filled up. There's a good amount of traffic. I guess some people just don't know about this place. And you see it loops back out to the main road. Got a fire pit. You could set up a tent here, pull up a camper. There's a trail down there. Actually, I think that goes to that first road I was showing out there. More campsites down there. They'll open this in the winter for snowmobiles, but at the time being, it's just a nice hiking trail over this old logging bridge. Every now and then, the Forest Service does allow logging because it's considered good for the environment to have areas where berry bushes grow in and stuff. Good for animals. Snowmobile trail. Someone hit this with birdshot. See, it can't even feel it on the backside of that thick sign. Here's another big, this is a big fire pit. But you see, you walk down this little hill. It looks like someone may have drove down here with a Jeep. It looks like that's a very rugged one there. Yeah, you can even see where they scraped their skid plate. But nice, beautiful flat spot. Beautiful flat spot. In the normal year, you could have a big fire. It looks like there's lots of dry stuff. You're right on the river. What's this? A swing? Got a real cable going up all there. How'd they get up there? They throw it or climb it, you think? But beautiful trickling water. Love this campsite. You can even smell the creosote. It smells like a train bridge. I don't mind that smell. Stuff will last forever. Somebody left their toilet here too. Oh, I'm not even gonna dig through that. I can tell there's crap there. Why is there no bottom to that bucket? That's probably why no one's using this site. Gross. I'm just looking at the beautiful area because I'm actually planning on camping here next week when the weather's a lot colder. Next week, all the temperatures will be like 50, 10 Celsius with cold nights. I want to come up here when it's a little bit colder and camp. No fire, of course. We got something interesting I want to use one of these sites for, because these sites are nice. And you'll see what I'm going to be using out here to camp, and you're going to see why I didn't want to pull that so far into the main North Woods. Just in case. If it holds up, I might do that in the future. Pull it way out in the wilderness. We're building some sort of homemade camper that I'm a little skeptical about it holding together on bumpy roads for like hours on end, I mean. So we'll use it out here. I can drive really slow from the pavement. Let's see what other nice campsites we might have out here. good amount of seclusion. Look at this. You gotta drive a ways to get to the next site. Or if you see a nice pull-in, you can just pull in and walk into the woods and camp. As long as you're a certain distance, no one's gonna stop you. Alright, I think this is the big one. This, I think, is the big site. We'll just pull in real quick and leave. Yeah. This is the big one where sometimes you'll see someone bring one of those motor homes that's like the size of a tour bus will be there. That one actually had a sign saying limit 14 days. Are there any more on this road? I think so. Then we'll take the quick drive over to Cherry Mountain Road. For a Saturday during leaf peeping season, I'm surprised how few people, because this year the leaf peeping was like 3 weeks early. Most people had vacation plans for when it typically is, first, second week of October, and the traffic's showing that's true, and just like a lot of people weren't coming out on these type of roads, I guess. Alright, here's a campsite, I think. Nope, that's not. This area really looks like winter compared to the beginning of the video. These trees are even balder. The trees seem to get balder on the west side of mountains first because that's where the wind is coming from. Slow it down so I don't dust out these people. There's a campsite to the left. They waved. Speed it back up. From personal experience, I hate it when I'm on the side of the road and someone just blasts by, covering you in dirt, especially if the car is open for whatever reason or I'm changing a tire. That's really not fun, someone blasting you with dust. Only the log drivers, I'll give a pass for that. It's their roads. Okay, and see this sign right here? It's newly set up. It's telling you where the fire bans are in effect because they're really worried about having a forest fire. Driest it's ever been. And this is the end of the road right here. And all these beautiful campsites are only like a 10-minute drive from the Cog Railway. And now it comes out into a neighborhood. Let's drive to the other one I'm talking about. The other one I'm talking about is a shorter road, but they're much better sites if you manage to be lucky enough to get one. I don't know if you can see it with the sun glare, but yeah, it's probably too much sun glare. That hill actually has very good fall foliage, and it's a very clear day. In front of us, you can see Mount Washington is a clear day. This would be a perfect day to go hiking up there or drive up there. I personally wouldn't drive up there or take the train unless it was a weekday because there's going to be a lot of traffic. And look who we caught up to. It is the Bronco Club is still in front of us. They're gonna make a dust storm. This is Cherry Mountain Road. It is about to hit dirt. On these roads here, all the locals are very friendly. Whether they're walking or riding their bikes because it's a beautiful day, they wave to you as you're driving by. That is a very beautiful view through there of Mount Washington. Look at all these leaves falling. So scenic. If we find an empty campsite, I'll show you another one just to give these guys a chance to get out of here. For an off-road club, they're going pretty slow on these roads. There's some good fall colors here. That's why I'm gonna film before we even get to the camping section of the road. This is just a nice country neighborhood. A couple of seasonal cabins. Oh, there's at least a dozen of them. I couldn't see that on the other road. They're going so slow. But it's okay. There's a nice pond with a bunch of cattails right next to us. Yeah, once we get to a campsite, I'm going to stop for a minute and see what it's got. If another car from the other direction, once this gets to one lane, comes, this is going to be a disaster. This area is still beautiful as far as the fall colors. When a foliage map shows you its past peak, that's an average of the whole area. There's still be good pockets or certain trees. Fall foliage map is usually talking about the maples. Things like oak are still green. They'll turn reddish brown. They're not really the prettiest color in the fall, but then you got things like aspen, which are gonna stay green for weeks longer before they even turn. Aspen doesn't seem to be as affected by drought. They must have deep roots. And these trees to our left, look at that, they're still green. I think that's ash. I feel bad for these people that are probably at their seasonal camps. These are very dusty roads. They're not watering them. Some of the roads, neighborhoods, they'll water the road once a day to prevent this. Because this must be getting in all the windowsills. You can't keep a clean car on these type of roads if you live out here. The recreational part of the road isn't even starting quite yet. At this pace, it's going to take probably 5 minutes at least before we even get to it. These driveways are beautiful, covered in leaves, really nice looking. Look at this dust cloud. I chose like the worst time to take this road. Change my air filter soon. 9,000 more miles will hit 400,000. I'll change all the filters, all the fluids, transmission, gearbox, everything is going to get changed at 400 to try to keep it going. I may be a fast driver, but very careful taking off and accelerate slow. And that's what has probably made this vehicle last so long. The Toyotas with the naturally aspirated engines will just go forever. No CVT, they'll go forever. Even the dealer, last time I brought it in for transmission fluid, was surprised it was lasting so long. They said they usually would have broke a while ago. It's also probably because I put the mileage on so fast. Nothing's really aging or wearing out. The house to the left has a beautiful clear view of Mount Washington in fall foliage. I think that's a brand new house. I'm not going to show the house or anything, but a lot of beautiful houses here with beautiful views. The view is what probably makes these properties really expensive, because around here with that type of view, an acre of property can sometimes go for 50 grand. But let's say you wanted an acre like in northern Maine, you could get it for 200 bucks. That lady's a Karen. She's like shaking her hands. Oh, I'm mad about all the dust you're making. Well, you live out here. You should know that. I waved at her and she's shaking her hands like, what the heck are you doing? Don't live in the country if dirt bothers you. And if you have a house right there, you're probably living in a $2 million house. Get a water tank for your lawnmower and come out here and water it if it bothers you so much. Sorry to be rude like that, but it's true. Damn dirt road traffic jam. Nerve of someone to get mad just for people driving by. A road like this that usually takes 20 minutes to drive is gonna take forever today, I guess. One time when we were out in the woods of Maine and we were out at the abandoned steam locomotives, we saw the Jeep Club, a whole bunch of them, but that was a wetter situation. They weren't clogging up each other's filters or anything. They were going quite fast compared to this group. Now these are more seasonal cabins. You come out here in like November, they'll all be boarded up pretty much for the winter to keep bears out. And gate ahead, this is where they'll close it off at the first snowstorm. But the National Forest Service doesn't always gate it off, especially Jefferson Notch Road. I have found that open before in the winter. They leave the gate open. Someone will go up there unsuspecting and get into a crash because it climbs in elevation so fast. There could be nothing on the bottom but snow up there. That's actually the road that I slid off of in November of 2020, I think it was. I slid off that road. It might have been 2019. I actually slid off of that road for that reason. Back then I wasn't running good tires, didn't have much experience with these type of roads. But still the National Forest Service's fault. That should have been closed and it should have been closed up. also my fault. I shouldn't have been driving out there. I was going down one of those roads slowly, but then I couldn't stop around a corner. There we go, $4,000 in broken plastic bumper garbage. But I paid for it myself because I would have paid more long term if I would have filed an insurance claim on that one. Didn't damage the car. I was like over 200,000 miles ago. We're getting bad gas mileage. We're averaging like 10. If anyone's wondering, we're crawling at 8 miles an hour right now. Or what's that in kilometers? 12. Now you're going down to 4. I guess you could call this slow motion traffic whiplash. I hate that when it's on the highway. Everyone starts going fast and everyone slams on their brakes over and over and over again. I guess this is kind of good for the front end of my car since I oil undercoated it. When you're driving on dirt roads, it's really only spraying dust up on the back part of the frame. I guess this will get the front a little bit. Oil undercoating, it's good to get it all dusty and gritted up so it doesn't wash away as easily. Because as someone who's always off-road like this, the tire's flinging up rocks, sandblasts, but it won't sandblast the oil off like it does with paint. It'll keep bleeding back in and it won't rust. I'll start just oil undercoating every year instead of painting. It's easier and it will last longer because it bleeds inside the frame in places you wouldn't even think of. Okay, we've got to be getting up to some campsites by now. This road also has a few hiking trailheads on it. Imagine coming up to a group like this when you're driving a tour bus sized motorhome. Every now and then you'll see one of them up here at a campsite. Here's the trail. Cherry Mountain Tower Trail. It's a dead-end trail, 3 miles it says. I think I did that trail when I was a little kid years ago. Here's a husky. Nope, that's a border collie, I think. That campsite's in use right there. Might have been a mixed dog. Okay, finally we're going a little faster. Just like that angry lady down there. This right here is probably going to make a lot of campers mad too, all this dust. You're going to have to dust everything off going by all these campsites. Kind of surprised the National Forest Service isn't sending a tanker truck down here like every day or every other day to take care of this, make it more enjoyable to the campers. The National Forest Service does do that at areas with pay stations. So with the National Forest Service, if there's a porta potty at a trailhead or something, you're gonna have to pay to maintain that. It's usually $5 a day, or you can get the season pass, or if you're over 65, I believe, or a veteran, it's free. I think if you're on disability, it's free too. I think if you're a first responder, it also might be free. Here's another campsite. Anyone at it? Someone is using it, but no one's here. See the tent down there? Got a nice big fire pit, a lot of room for cars. I think this road has a limit of 3 vehicles. I don't know if that includes a trailer or discludes if there's a trailer. I know this road does have a vehicle limit, and there's a limit of 14 people per party. The other one I don't think actually labels rules like that. This road fills up pretty fast. Wouldn't be surprised if we don't even see one that's open. Now that we're going downhill, we're getting about 25 mpg, a bit better. The gaskets on this car aren't that great, so it does come in a little bit. Road looks like you would have lots of berry bushes if you were here in the summer. Normal summer. This year, most of the berry bushes didn't produce much of anything because it's been dry. The bears are hungrier this year because they don't have food. The heck are you doing? Going this slow. Right, here's a parking spot, but it's not a campsite. We've been here before. I've showed you this area before. It's really, really beautiful. I think they're taking pictures, and I'm going to show you what they're taking pictures of. It's beautiful. There's a beaver structure here. Beavers like to clog this up. There's, I think, 4 or 5 culverts right here, because every now and then this must surge. I'm surprised that the water here is so high. Ooh, there might even be a beaver. I saw some rapids in there. Let me show you what we got here. We'll get a little distance from them. Yeah, that's pretty scenic and beautiful. See, we got a couple culverts. We got that beaver-proof structure. It doesn't work at all. They swim right into it through the bottom. That was a fail. That doesn't work. But look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's 4 pipes. All right, let's put you back up front. Shut the window. Let's get back up here. This guy pulled over to take a pee or something. Beautiful section of road. Okay, is there a car? Why is everyone stopped? That other Bronco's behind me now. It seems like he wants to get ahead with them again. So, okay, go around me. Yeah. At least they waved. They're crazy taking the top down. They're gonna have to clean everything. Okay, is this a campsite? It is. I'm not sure if you saw that trailer there. But behind that trailer, there's rocks blocking off the road because they don't want you to pull in there, but there's a big flat grassy area behind that camper for setting tents and stuff up. There's usually a trickling stream right here, but it's so dry out. Yeah, it's dried up, bone dry, not even a puddle in that creek bed. Here's another campsite, free one. It's got another little camper, a big fire pit, and a grassy area that's nicely mowed by the Forest Service. I can't believe that a road this nice doesn't have a pay station. At least everyone's moving now at the speed limit. There's a lot more campsites coming up. Another vehicle coming up on me. Is it one of them? Let's see when they catch up. The sun rays going through this kind of looks pretty. This is another campsite that has a fairly large camper. Okay, everyone's pulling over. It looks like someone might be coming by. Yeah, here's a campsite. They have a Chevy Express van with a bunch of nice Christmas lights stringing, like making a little courtyard for at night. Yeah, there's a vehicle coming up, but it looks like it's letting everyone pass. Nope, behind me is a Suburban, not part of them. This is the National Forest Service. Checking in on everyone. They do check in on everyone because they take notes of how long everyone's been here. Because like this time of year, you can see all these sites are full. They don't want anyone hogging them more than 2 weeks. It's the limit. Look at this person. They have the back of their truck wide open for the dust storm. But he's just sitting there on his phone in a chair. He could care less about the dust. When I'm out for long periods of time in the wilderness, it gets dusty and it gets to the point I stop caring about opening and shutting the doors a lot because it sits in the door jams, and when you open and close it, it gets in really bad no matter what vehicle you have. Then you just got to clean it when you get back. There's dust in parts of my car that it's never going to come out. Now we're going nice and fast. This area here, this has been a problematic beaver swamp before. The little driveway we just went by has a no camping sign. It actually might have said no fires, but I think it's no camping. It's a permanent fixture though. I think it's no camping. Dusty, dusty, dusty. This comes back out near the Mount Washington Hotel. I'm getting really dusty. I kind of like driving around a dusty vehicle or a vehicle covered in mud. I think it's hilarious driving into the city like that. This is actually a pretty picture. All the dust. that Suburban behind me is like brand new. He's like keeping his distance. He doesn't like the dust, I don't think. All right, here's another campsite. This is a really nice one. You see, there's parking spaces right here. Then the road is blocked off with boulders, and you set up tents in there. There's like a nice big open field. And all right, here's another campsite. It's got parking on both sides for a couple of vehicles. The campsite's not here. You have to hike in a couple 100 feet. And there's a grassy area that they weed whack and stuff with a fire pit and water. That is right on the, there's gonna be a bridge coming up, but it's along the same stream. We'll see if it's even flowing. Here's another campsite to the left. You can't really see it. We're all overexposed and dusty, but it's also occupied, but no one's at it. They must be out exploring. Here's the bridge I was talking about. Carefully go by, give him a wave. That guy's getting dusted out. He's left his window open. I think that's it. I don't think there's any more campsites. I think that's it for the road. I think this road's about to go back to pavement and end. I think it goes back to pavement. Nope, there's one more campsite, and it has a tent, but no one's at it right now. That was the last one. There's a historic building right here. Let me pull into it real quick and show you, and I'll let the Suburban pass. So there's a maintenance shed there. I don't think they use anymore. It used to house a lawnmower, but here's a historic log cabin for the National Forest Service. I don't know if this used to be a pay station building or what it may have been, but let's get out real quick and take a look at it. I don't think we'll see the Bronco Club again today because the road's almost over. They should be out by now. Make sure this focuses in if anyone wants to read it. Nice building. Look at that. They're not using it for anything. It says enjoy but don't destroy. I wonder if they ever have moments when this is open, like where you can look on the inside of it. Pretty nice building. Drown campfires. They have the big no campfire sign. I'm surprised they didn't put that underneath it or something, because they're actually covering up a be bear aware sign. If anyone wants to read this, I'll make sure you can see. They really don't want you having campfires. We are so dry right now, and there's dry leaves everywhere. You saw that. It's punishable up to $10,000 if you're caught with a open fire. You can have gas stoves, but that's about it. Can't even have a charcoal grill because a hot piece could fall on the ground. It's so dry and leafy. All right, let's pull back out. And we're gonna end this video in like a minute because this road is about to end. If you're not one for camping at sites like this, there's also a bunch of rental cabins on this road also. Actually, I wouldn't call it cabin. They're rental mobile homes that are coming up as soon as we go by the gate. Yep, here's the gate. And that is a rental mobile home right there. A couple of these other buildings are rentals and Airbnbs. Look how old that building is. That must be cool. I don't know if that's a rental or just an old cabin, but that's really cool. I don't know if these are rentals or permanent residents or what this might be up here, but we're about to hit the paved road. We're right next to the Mount Washington Hotel, and I hope today's video was interesting, everyone. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. dust storm. Someone told me that that train track right there that's been abandoned for such a long time is gonna reopen soon because, what do you call it, the what do you call that place? I forgot what it's called. The North Conway Scenic Railway is now gonna have train rides that go twice as far, so they bought a lot more railroad. It used to just go into, I think it's called the Notch, where Saco Lake is I think the furthest it would go. No, it used to go to the train station restaurant called Fabian. That was its max. Now I think it's gonna keep going much further beyond those. Look at all this traffic. I'm trying to make a left here. This is gonna take a while.